Hooligans Underground. Welcome to the
Yay!
standing room only.
Yay!
Yay. I'm going to start with a Boudreaux joke. Actually, this is about Clotilde. I think it was Clotilde that I told y'all once before that she was a teacher. Now, Clotilde was a PE teacher at an elementary school down on the bayou. And one day she was out in the back for physical ed, and she noticed that this young boy was standing way over at the other end of the field all by himself, while all the other kids was running around, kicking the ball, having a fun, having a blast playing. Now she kind of took pity on that little boy standing over there all by himself, so she decided to walk down there and have a little talk with him. So she goes up and it says, "Is you okay?" And the little boy says, "Yes, I'm good, Miss Clotilde." She says, "You can go play with them other kids. You don't have to stand out here all by yourself." And the little boy looks at him and he says, "No, it's probably best that I stay right here." And then Clotilde said, "Well, sweetie, that's not the case. You don't have to stay here by yourself. No matter what your problem might be, you can always go play with the other children." Now the boy looks at her and he says, "Ma'am, I'm the goalie. I have to stay here." It was funny when I read it out on the thing. All right, one more. Now this is young Boudreaux back in his wild, crazy days. Now young Boudreaux was driving down the streets of New Orleans, breaking a sweat because he had an important meeting and couldn't find a good parking space. Because parking is very, very hard to find down in New Orleans.
Is that
Now looking up at
Nolans?
heaven, because
Not
he was about
Nolans? I'm trying to get that
Nolans.
right. Nolans?
All right, let's take a break. We could do. Let me tell
No, no,
y'all
no, no, no.
how
Keep it
the
going.
people in New Orleans say New Orleans. They got many different ways to say it.
I was just
Uptown
trying to
people.
copy
Hold
how
on.
you said it. New Orleans. New
Hold
Orleans.
on. Hold on. Uptown people call it New Orleans because they're uptowners. Downtown people call it Nolans, like Nawlins, Nolans.
Nolans. No.
And now the people from the west side of town, like Metry and Kenner and Jefferson, they call it New Orleans, not New Orleans, but New Orleans, New Orleans, Orleans,
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
I like
That's
the way
kind
you
of the way
say
I
it.
say it.
New Orleans. New
New
Orleans.
Orleans, yeah,
Oh,
New Orleans. 'Cause
So
they're
I
just so
didn't mean to
big.
interrupt your joke, but yeah, continue, man.
Well, it's
No
okay. I
wonder
seen it as an
America is
educational
taken.
moment.
yeah, I like that. That's cool. That's very interesting.
All right. Young Boudreaux was driving down the street in New Orleans, breaking a sweat because he had an important meeting in Canal Place and he couldn't find a parking spot nowhere. Now, looking up towards heaven, he said, "Lord, please take pity on the little Boudreaux and give me a place to park. Please. If you do that, I will go to church every Sunday instead of going fishing. I'll stop betting on LSU games, and I'll even give up the drinking and chasing of the women's for the rest of my life. I guarantee."
Whoa.
Yeah,
Now,
wow.
miraculously, a parking space appeared right there. I mean, literally 10 feet away. Now, Boudreaux looked up again. "Never mind, God, I found one." I could be
Silly
another.
man. Oh,
That's funny.
that's a good one.
As if he's
All right,
gonna
I'm going to do
pull
one
blood.
more. One more. And this is one I just found like 10 minutes ago. Now, Boudreaux and some woman were laying beside each other at the swimming pool down at the hotel. Now Boudreaux gets up, he goes over to that diving board and does a perfect 2.5 gainer without even a splash. Perfect. Now he returns to his chair and the woman says, "Oh, Cher, that was beautiful. You must have been a diver in college." Now Boudreaux replies, "Yes, and 3 Olympic gold medals." How about that shit, huh? About that time, she gets up, jumps in that swimming pool, and did 10 laps without without even breathing hard. Now, very impressed, Boudreaux asks, "Olympic swimmer also?" And she says, "No, I was a hooker down in Lafourche Parish, and I had to work both sides of the bayou."
So she was swimming
Swim
across.
across.
Swimming across the bayou. Now, for y'all who don't know, a bayou is
Hi,
what
Caesar.
y'all would call a
The
canal.
swamp.
A canal or a brook,
A
yeah, a
canal.
wide brook, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
swamp
it's
filled
not
with
big.
with gators. Oh my
Or a
god.
brook. Yeah, it's that size. See, here in New Orleans, when we think river, of course, we got the Mississippi River, and you ain't swimming across that thing at
No.
all. If you fall in, you pretty much dead. You know, people don't survive when they get in the river. So the bayou's a lot smaller and calmer,
Yep.
and communities are on both sides. So she had to do both sides. Okay. All right. Who up? Who want to come up here and make a
I
play?
will, I will.
Yay,
All right.
Pepper.
Hey.
Yay, yay, yay. What a treat. Come on
Well,
up here. And the big, big, big welcome for Pepper.
let's see here.
Yay!
Yay, Papa.
All right. Yeah.
Let me get adjusted here. A chicken farmer went to the local bar. He sat next to a woman and ordered champagne. The woman said, "How strange. I also just ordered a glass of champagne." "What a coincidence," said the farmer, who added, "It's a special day for me. I'm celebrating." "It's a special day for me, too. I'm also celebrating," said the woman. "What a coincidence," said the farmer. While they toasted, the farmer asked, "What are you celebrating?" "My husband and I have been trying to have a child for years, and today my gynecologist told me that I was pregnant." "What a coincidence," said the man. "I'm a chicken farmer, and for years all my hens were infertile, but now they are all set to lay fertilized eggs." "This is incredible," said the woman. "What did you do for your chickens to become fertile?" "I used a different rooster," he said. The woman smiled coyly and said, "What a coincidence."
Oh my
And that's my addition for tonight's comedy.
All right. Big hand for Pepper.
Oh,
God. Well, thanks.
Yeah, I love that one. That was good.
Hey, blah, blah.
Keeper.
hey, Bob. Hey, Bill.
Hi, Cesar.
All right. I
Hi,
think I'm going to
Cesar.
squeeze in one before we get somebody else up here. I'm just going to try to find us a short one. All right. I got a short one. All right, y'all. Boudreaux was sick, in the hospital, near death. I mean, he was doing real bad. He was doing so bad that Marie sent for the family priest, Father Abel. Now, Father Abel finally showed up a few minutes later, and as he stood there beside the bed, Boudreaux's condition grew worse. Now, as Boudreaux was slipping in and out of consciousness, he made a last effort and he motioned frantically for something to write on. Now, the priest, Father
So,
Abel,
Bob, how grumpy are your pants?
lovingly handed him a pen and a piece of paper. And Boudreaux used his last ounce of strength to scribble a note. Then he died and passed on to the other side. Now, Father Abel thought that was a bad time to go read that note, so he took that note and he just kind of slipped it in his pocket. Now, several days later, at the funeral, Father Abel was delivering a eulogy, and he realized that he had that little piece of paper in his pocket. Now, he thought it'd be good to read that see what Boudreaux had to say. So he addressed the crowd. He said, y'all, Boudreaux handed me a note just before he died, and I haven't read it. But as we all know Boudreaux, I'm sure there's a word of inspiration there for all of us. Now he reached down in his pocket, unfolded the note, and he read aloud. You're standing on my oxygen tube.
Oh my God.
Crickets.
Oh
That
man.
father delivered Boudreaux into the afterlife, y'all. Done his job. All right, who wants to come up
Good
here
job.
and be next?
I'll go up.
All right, come on up, Fiddlah. Oh no, Y's already up here.
Why? Yay, why?
All right, Y, big hand for Y. All right, Y, your mic might not be on because we don't hear nothing.
Mic not working.
There it is.
It's working
All right.
now.
All right. Well, one day in the synagogue, the rabbi's conducting prayers, and he hears this argument in the back. Yossi and Jacob are involved in a heated discussion. Jacob, I tell you, black is a color. No, Yossi, black is no color. Yes, black is a color. And the rabbi steps in. What is this? We are conducting prayers here, and you two are waking the dead. Have a little respect, no? We are sorry, Rabbi, says Yossi. But it's most important question, dear Rabbi. We know you're a man of great education. You are a teacher of our community. Can you tell us, please, is black a color? So the rabbi, he stops to consider it, and he goes, well, brothers, I can't give you the number or the name of the appropriate scripture right now. But yes, I'm sure we Jews believe black is a color. Now, may I get back to the prayers? So he goes back to reading, and soon he hears another argument. White is a color. No, white is no color. Again, the rabbi steps in. Jacob, Yossi, what are you two doing? We are in synagogue trying to pray to our God, the Savior, and you two are still fighting. My friends, please stop this. Oh, we're so sorry. We're so truly sorry, says Yossi, but we have an extremely important question. We must seek your advice. Please, Rabbi, can you tell us, is white a color? So the rabbi, trying to maintain his patience, looks for an answer. Ugh, God help me. Yes, he says. White is a color too. God has also given us white as a color. Now, gentlemen, please, I beg you, may I continue the prayers? He begins again when he hears Yossi saying to Jacob, you see, Jacob, no question, you can trust me. I sold you a color TV. Priest is walking past the pub, and he sees this little boy drinking a beer and smoking a Cuban cigar. The priest is shocked. Why aren't you in school? He asks the boy. 'Cause I'm only 4.
Oh, he was smoking.
Smoking and drinking a beer. All right. This man's driving down a deserted stretch of highway when he notices a sign out of the corner of his eye, and it says, Sisters of Mercy, House of Prostitution, 10 kilometers. Oh, he thinks it's just a figment of his imagination, so he drives on without thinking about it again, and pretty soon he sees another sign. It says, Sisters of Mercy, House of Prostitution, 5 kilometers. He realizes these signs are real. And then he drives past the third sign saying, Sisters of Mercy House of Prostitution, next right. His curiosity gets the best of him. He pulls in the driveway, and on the far side of the parking lot, there's this somber stone building with a small sign next to the door that says Sisters of Mercy. He climbs up the steps, rings the bell. The door is answered by a nun in a long black habit, and she says, What may we do for you, my son? And he's like, Well, I saw your signs along the highway. I was really kind of interested in possibly doing some business. Very well, my son. Please follow me. So he's led through many, many winding passages, and soon he's quite disoriented. The nun stops at a closed door and tells him, Knock on this door. And he does as he's told. And the door is answered by another nun in a long habit holding a tin cup. She says, Please place $50 in this cup, and then go through the large wooden door at the end of the hallway. So he gets out 50 out of his wallet, puts it in the cup, and trots eagerly down the hall and through the door, and pulls it shut behind him. And as the door locks behind him, he finds himself back in the parking lot, facing another small sign, Go in peace. You have just been screwed by the Sisters of Mercy.
I like that.
Before they could get ordained, these three young men have to undergo an ordeal which will test the chastity of their thoughts. Ordered by a priest to strip, the trio have rubber bands put on their private parts, and then they're ushered into a bedroom where a beautiful girl lies naked on the bed. After a few minutes, there's a really loud boing, and the first seminarian's told to go to the showers and cool off his arduous temperament. A minute later, there's a second loud boing, and the owner of that rigid member is also sent to the showers to cool off. Minutes pass, and then when nothing happens to the third aspiring clergyman, he's congratulated by the priest. Well done, my son, the priest says. Now go and join the others in the shower. Boing! He wants to get in there with them boys. Mm-hmm. This elderly doctor and a Baptist minister are seated next to each other on a plane. The plane's delayed on the ground due to technical problems. And just after they take off, the pilot offers his apologies to the passengers and announces a round of free drinks are going to be served to everyone. Well, when the charming flight attendant comes around with her trolley, the doctor orders a gin and tonic, and the flight attendant asks the minister whether he'd like anything. And he says, Oh, no, thank you. I would rather commit adultery than to drink alcohol. And the doctor promptly hands his gin and tonic back to the flight attendant and says, Madam, I didn't know there was a choice. One morning, the Pope awakes in his bedchamber in the Vatican. To his surprise, he notices that he's woken up with a massive erection. He's really perplexed, so he calls on his personal physician. Doctor, this should not be possible. I'm the Pope. I'm a celibate. I haven't had one of these for 30 years. And the doctor's like, Well, Father, this is a natural phenomenon for all men, and it will happen even to you from time to time. And the Pope's like, But you got to do something about this. I have Mass in 1 hour. This thing ain't going away. So the doctor says, All right, you have two options. Either I could administer an injection to your penis to make the problem go away, which will hurt and make you feel ill, or you can make love to a woman. And the Pope says, Oh, no, I don't want that injection, so get me a nun. But there are three considerations. First, she's got to be blind so she can't see who does this thing to her. And second, she's got to be deaf so she can't hear who's doing this thing to her. And third, she's got to have really big tits. It's a rainbow joke. All right, that's mine for now. And if you need me later, I can do more. But
Very good.
Hello.
Hey, why?
Alright, I'm going to tell y'all a little story now. And this is about the day Boudreaux got pulled over by the state police. Now, Boudreaux was speeding down I-10 and he got pulled over by the state troopers. And the troopers started to lecture Boudreaux about his speed. And in general, began to throw his weight around to try to make Boudreaux feel uncomfortable.
Mhm.
like police do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, that
Now
paid to be.
finally, the trooper got around to writing out the ticket. And as he was doing that, he kept swatting at the flies that was buzzing around his head. Now
Go.
Boudreaux says, "Officer, you have some problems with them circle flies, are you?" Now the trooper stopped writing the ticket and says, "Well, yeah, if that's what they call. I never heard of circle flies, but yeah." So Boudreaux he said, "Well, circle flies, they're pretty common around here in the sugarcane fields, and they're usually flying around the back end of the horses." And the trooper says, "Oh," and goes back to writing his ticket. Then after about a minute or so, he stops and he says, "Wait, hey, wait a minute there. Are you
Hmm.
trying to call me a jackass or something?" Boudreaux said, "Oh no, officer. I got way too much respect for law enforcement and the police to ever even think about calling you a horse's ass." Trooper says, "Well, that's a good damn thing, boy." He goes back to writing his ticket. Now, after a nice long pause, Boudreaux lets out a deep breath and says, "Hard to fool them flies, though." All right, who wants to come up? Who's next?
Fiddlah.
I'll come up.
Fiddler's
All
turn.
right, everybody, let's welcome Fiddler to the stage.
Hey, Fiddlery.
Thank you very much. I gotta stand up, obviously, or something. There we go.
There you go.
All right. Well, as you know, I normally do themes. Hope everyone's doing fine tonight. But tonight, I'm just doing just basic, out of the ordinary, one-liner, really, really, really dumb jokes. Okay. My wife told me to stop impersonating a flamingo. I said, to myself, that's it. You know, I had to put my foot down.
I get it.
I failed math so many times at school I can't even count. You know, I used to have a handle on life, and then it broke.
Like
Mine
that.
broke too.
Mine 3.
I want to die peacefully in my sleep, like my grandfather. Not screaming and yelling like his passengers in the car. When life gives you melons, you might be dyslexic. Don't you hate it when someone answers their own questions? I do.
Me too.
You know what? It takes a lot of balls to golf the way I do.
Me too.
My father has schizophrenia, but he's good people.
These good
He's
people.
good people.
Silly.
You know, the other day, I got fired from the calendar factory. Can't believe it. All I did was take one day off.
Which day? I hope it was a day during the week. You
I
take
hope it was a
Monday
week.
off.
I hope it was a rainy day and Monday. Yeah.
You know, they always get you down.
Oh,
Most people are shocked when they find out how bad I am as an electrician.
people are shocked.
My wife just found out I replaced our bed with a trampoline. She hit the ceiling.
Poor
Picture
Gleesa.
that.
I know. You can read the bumps on my head
Poor
now.
ceiling.
As a fact, Russian dolls are so full of themselves.
Little
They really are.
You know? My therapist said to me, I have preoccupation for revenge. Well, we'll just see about that.
What a mega bet.
I always take life with a grain of salt, slice of lemon, and a shot of tequila.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I burned 2,000 calories. That's the last time I leave brownies in the oven for a while. Actually, I don't suffer from insanity. I enjoy every minute of it.
That's my family.
You know, I got in an argument with my neighbor, and the last thing I said to him was, the last thing I want to do is hurt you, but it's still on the list. That's right. You know, I went down to the store the other day, and I bought some candy, and the guy behind the counter at the register says, the problem isn't that obesity runs in your family, it's that no one runs in your family.
That's the
I was like,
problem.
well, that's true, you know. Today, a man knocked on my door and asked for a very small donation towards the local swimming pool. I gave him a glass of water.
At least you didn't give him a cup of pee.
Receptionist says, doctor, there's a patient on line 1, says he's invisible. Doctor says, well, I can't see him right now. Last night, my girlfriend was complaining that I never listened to her, or something like that.
Some on them lines, yeah.
You know, I like this one. Maybe if we start telling people their brain is an app, they'll want to use it.
That's a good point.
No.
If a parsley farmer gets sued, can they garnish his wages?
Ew, honey.
People who take care of chickens are literally chicken tenders, okay?
Oh, yummy.
It was an emotional wedding. Even the cake had tears.
That's a good one.
Oh yeah, I like that play on words.
You know what? Blunt pencils are really pointless. What's the difference between ignorance and apathy? I don't
and I don't
know,
care.
and I don't give a shit, right?
I had a teacher friend that did that to a kid. A kid goes, what's apathetic mean? And the teacher goes, I don't know and I don't care. The kid goes, well, gosh, gee. And she goes, no, that's apathy. That's a good teaching lesson.
Yeah, that was a bad morning. One of our cows didn't produce milk this morning. It was an utter failure. Did you know that Adam and Eve were the first ones to ignore the Apple terms and conditions? If you're ever attacked by a mob of clowns, go for the jugular. Right. A dung beetle walks into a barn and asks, is this stool taken?
How poopy. Oh my god. That's a dirty joke.
Filthy.
It's a shitty joke.
Really shitty joke.
I told you they were really stupid.
No, they're great.
I buy all my guns from a guy named T-Rex. He's a small arms dealer.
That's cute. Oh, I like that.
My friend's bakery burned down last night. Now his business is toast.
Oh.
Here's a
Two
question. If you don't pay your
Tyrannosaurus
exorcist, do you get repossessed? A blind man walked into a bar and a table and then a chair. I threw a boomerang a couple years ago. I now live in constant fear. Did you hear about the guy whose left side got amputated?
No.
He's all right now. And that's all I got.
That was great, Fiddler.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Yay! I want to know how Tyrannosaurus Rexes wipe their butts. Yeah.
I think they have another Tyrannosaurus Rex do it for them. So.
I don't know. Was there bunny rabbits back then?
Yeah,
That's a bear
exactly.
joke.
They rub their butts on the floor like dogs do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's probably true.
Pterodactyl. Yeah.
All right, I want to tell y'all one more story. And this is back after the hurricane came through New Orleans, and a bunch of Cajuns had to go over to Texas. Now in Houston, Boudreaux was looking for a construction job because he could swing a hammer. And this construction site, the boss was interviewing men, and along come in this little Cajun boy. Now, I ain't hiring no damn Cajuns. That's what the foreman was thinking to himself. So he made up a test, hoping that the Cajun wouldn't be able to answer the questions, and he'd be able to refuse him the job. Nice and clean, just push him on out the door. Now, here's your first question, yo Cajun. Without using no numbers, represent to me the number 9. Without numbers, now Boudreaux say, man, that's easy. And proceeds to draw 3 trees on the chalkboard. Now, what's this, the boss man asks. Have you got no brain? Says Boudreaux. Tree and tree and tree makes 9. Simple math. Simple math. Fair enough, says the Houston boss man. Here's your second question. Now, we're using the same rules. This time, the number is 99. Now, Boudreaux stares into space for a little while, then picks up the picture that he has just drawn and makes a smudge on each tree. Here you go. The boss man scratches his head and says, how on earth do you get that to represent 99? Now, Boudreaux, so each of the trees is dirty now. So is dirty tree, dirty tree, dirty tree. 99.
Oh, that's great.
Now, the boss is getting a little worried. He might have to hide his dumb coon ass, right? All right, last question. Same rules again, but represent the number 100. Now, he figured he done got him beat, because ain't no way trees is going to equal to 100. Now, Boudreaux stares into space again just for a moment. Then he picks up the picture again and makes a little mark at the base of each tree, and he says, here you go, 100. Now, the boss looks at it. You must be nuts if you think that represent 100. Boudreaux takes a big sigh, leans forward, and points to the marks at the tree bases and says, a little dog came along and crapped by each tree. So now you got dirty tree and a turd. Dirty tree and a turd. Dirty tree and a turd. 100. Now, when I get to start my job there, boss man.
That's
That
funny.
would, actually,
Oh
that
my
would be funny,
God.
but and a turd.
Oh, man, that coon ass boy, they know that mad.
And a turd.
Counting all them shrimps. All right, I only got one more joke, and I'm going to save it because this is a doozy. So who wants to come up next?
I do.
All right, Gleesa.
Yay, Gleesa!
Oh, what up,
Yay,
Gleesa? Let's
Gleesa.
everybody give a big old hand for Gleesa.
Now, I don't know if I have to wait for Boston. He wanted me to tell a joke, so I'm gonna kind of hold off. I had to write my own joke for him, but
me like 10 minutes ago and said
You
you
had to write your own joke for him to tell you to tell it. Oh no.
no, I wrote my own joke for him. He asked me to tell a joke. If he gets here, he gets here.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll worry about that when it happens. If he doesn't
Yeah, we'll
make
give
it,
him the video. Yeah.
Yeah.
He ain't coming. He
so maybe I should just tell his joke.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we know Boston loves wrestling and Boston loves NASCAR and various sports teams. So he wanted me to tell his joke. So I've added to the Boston-esque and said, what's green and orange and red all over?
I don't know.
The Boston Celtics. They lost last night. So, that's not really probably as well as.
You know, that's cute. Actually.
Yeah, that is cute.
Not bad, not bad.
Anyway, I pulled up some banker jokes. I've been working for a bank for over 31 years, so I figured it was time to dig into my roots or
Time to
pockets.
bank
Or,
on it.
As soon as you say that, here comes Boston.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll say it again at the end. So, a blonde woman, this is not your typical blonde joke though, but a blonde woman walks into a bank in New York City before going on vacation and asks for a $5,000 loan. The banker asks, okay, miss, is there anything you would like to use as collateral? And the woman says, yes, of course. I'll use my Rolls Royce. The banker is stunned and says, a $250,000 Rolls Royce? Really? And the woman is completely positive. She hands over the keys as the bankers and the loan officers, they're laughing. Not at her face, but behind her back. And they check her credentials, make sure she's the title owner. Everything checks out, and they park it underground in their garage for a couple weeks. When she comes back, she pays off the $5,000 loan, as well as the interest, which was about $15.41. So the loan officer says, Miss, we really appreciate your business with us, but I have one question. We looked up your credentials, and you're a very wealthy woman. Why would you even want a $5,000 loan? And the woman replies, well, where else in New York City can you park a car for 2 weeks for $15.41 and expect to be there when you get back?
Good for her.
Yeah.
No. So, a banker? Oh, you may want to cover your kids' ears for this joke. Or your own ears if you don't like my voice. But, okay, a banker and a biker and a lawyer walk into a bar. They're all buddies who coincidentally have the same anniversary. So they all grab a drink and discuss what they got their wives for their anniversary. The banker takes a sip of his scotch and says, well, for our anniversary, I got her a string of the finest pearls and a brand new Mercedes. So if she doesn't like the necklace, she'll like the car. And no, I love her. The lawyer takes a drink of his bourbon and says, for our anniversary, I got my wife a trip to the Bahamas and a diamond ring. So if she doesn't like the Bahamas, she will like the ring. And no, I love her. Biker takes a swig of his beer and says, for our anniversary, I got my wife a t-shirt and a dildo, and if she doesn't like the shirt, she can go F herself. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
It only cost them $15.95.
A retired banker went to a psychiatrist. He said, for 30 years, I worked in a bank as a teller. Every day I would serve dozens of customers. I loved my job and never missed a day. Last month I retired. Since then, every time I pass a bank, I have a huge craving to enter and take out money. Even if I pass an ATM, I have to stop and take some cash out. I've got thousands of dollars in cash at home. Yet every day I feel desperate to go to the bank and take out more. What's wrong with me? The psychiatrist replied, it sounds like you're having withdrawal symptoms.
Oh, girl.
Classic.
So, I don't know if you know this about bankers, but in the old days, they would always sew the pockets closed, and this is to keep honest people honest, so that you couldn't put your hands in the pockets, you couldn't put anything in your pockets, in your pants or your suit coats. And I think to this day, a lot of times before you can actually put your hands in your suit pockets, you have to unravel them and take the threading out.
Yes, you do.
And this was designed early on just to keep, the bankers honest. So a young banker decided to get his first tailor-made suit. So he went to the finest tailor in town and got measured for a suit. A week later, he went for his first fitting. He put on the suit. He looked fabulous. He felt that in this suit, he could do business. As he was preparing himself in front of the mirror, he reached down to put his hands in his pockets. And to his surprise, he noticed there were no pockets. So he mentioned this to the tailor, who asked him, "Didn't you tell me you were a banker?" And the young man answered, "Yes, I did." To this, the tailor said, "Well, who ever heard of a banker with his hands in his own pockets?"
That's everyone.
They're usually in my pockets.
Yeah, I know.
All right. A young banker is standing on a tree limb with a rope around his neck, ready to end it all.
I can see it happening.
He sees movement to his side, and an ugly old woman comes from the brush, calling for him to stop. "Stop, stop," she says. "Why would a young man like yourself be doing such a thing?" "My life is ruined," he responds. "I took the payroll from my company and lost it all at the casino after I promised my wife I'd stop gambling. When they find out, I'll be fired, arrested, and divorced." "Oh, there's no need to hurt yourself," the old woman said. "I'm a witch, and I will help you." The witch reached into her pocket, took out some dust, throwing it into the air before clasping her hands together and chanting. After a minute, she looked at the stunned man and she said, "It's done. The money has been returned to your boss's account. Not only that, I added the same amount to your account, and your wife is no longer angry. She's at home preparing your favorite meal." The man was stunned, and he climbs down out of the tree. He goes, "Is that true?" "Ah," the witch says, "yes, but it will only remain true on one condition. You must take me behind that tree and have sex with me." The man is repulsed by the thought, but he agrees. He takes the witch behind the tree and has sex with her for hours,
Oh.
gagging past the smell and the lack of hygiene. After she rolls off of him, finally satisfied, she looks over and she goes, "Well, how old are you?" The guy goes, "I'm 35. The woman says, "Aren't you a little old to be believing in witches?"
Oh.
That's horrible.
So Leno went to Morgan Freeman's house and had a lot of drinks. Leno suddenly started to urinate on Freeman's carpet. Freeman was furious and ran after him as he kept on urinating. The banker next door saw the whole thing and decided to start a bank. Kids, this is the true story of how J.P. Morgan Chase was named.
Always wondered.
And this is going to be is Boston still here?
Boston, you
He
here?
was only here for 10 seconds and he beeped right out again.
He laughed.
Oh, okay. Well, then this is going to be my last joke.
Okay.
An elderly woman walked into the Royal Bank of Ireland one morning with a purse full of money. She wanted to open a savings account and insisted on talking to the president of the bank because she said, I have a lot of money. After a lengthy discussion, the president of the bank asked her how much she wanted to deposit. She placed her purse on his desk and replied, 165,000 pounds. The president was curious and asked her how she had been able to amass so much cash.
That's
The
about
old woman,
$200,000.
how much?
200,000.
That's pretty good. The old woman replied that she was a gambler and her betting paid handsomely. What kind of bets? The banker said. Do you play the horses? No, I make personal bets. Are you a wagering man? She asked, and he goes, yeah, sometimes, he replied. Well, she said, I'll bet you 25,000 pounds that you have square testicles.
God.
The president started to laugh and told the woman that it was an impossible wager. The woman never batted an eye. She just looked at the president and said, then you can't lose, can you? Will you accept the bet? Of course, replied the president. There's no such thing as a square testicle. Done, says the old woman. But considering the amount of money involved, if you don't mind, I would like to come back at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning with my lawyer as a witness. That night, the president became nervous about the bet and spent a long time in front of the mirror examining his testicles, turning them this way and that, and checking them over again and again until he was positive that no one could consider his testicles as square, reassuring himself that there was no way he could lose this bet.
Okay.
All right. The next morning at exactly 10 o'clock, the woman arrived at the president's office with her lawyer and acknowledged the $25,000 bet made the day before that the president's testicles were square. The president agreed as to the terms. She then asked him to drop his pants so that she and her lawyer could clearly see, and the banker dropped trow. She came closer and said she would need to examine his testicles to make sure that they were, in fact, not square. Reluctantly, he agreed, and reaching out a dainty hand, she carefully examined first one testicle, then the other. And as she did so, her lawyer began banging his head against the desk. The banker was astonished and asked the old woman why he was banging his head. She replied, it's probably because I bet him 100,000 pounds that by 10:30 this morning I'd be holding in my hand the balls of the president of the Royal Bank of Ireland. All right, that's it for me.
Yeah, she's good.
All right. Big hand for Gleesa.
Yay,
Okay, going up tonight.
Whoops, I'm hugging somebody.
That was a good
All right,
one.
I got one more story to tell y'all. And
Yay.
This is gonna be the wrap for the night. So this is gonna be a doozy. Maybe not quite as good as Gleesa's, but you know, it'd be close.
If it has a penis in it, we're all set. Come on, let's go.
It kind of well, not the word penis, but you know, if you got imagination, I think they got some balls in here or something. All right. Now, Boudreaux was doing some traveling down to South Louisiana last year. And as he was traveling through Breaux Bridge, he decided to stop at that Bayou Bar. Now, Boudreaux walks into that bar and he sees on the bar a jar full of $100 bills. So he looks at that jar and then he asks the bartender why there's so much money in the jar. And that bartender replies that it's a running bet for the locals, but you have to pay $100 to participate. And the bet consists of 3 tests. And the first test, you see that man sitting over there in the corner. His name is Big Jim. He's standing about 6 feet tall and weighs about 551 pounds. You got to knock him out cold. Got to put him out. Now, the second test, if you pass the first test, you have to get out of the bar where Big Jim's dog is. You have to remove 1 tooth from the dog. Okay, sounds easy, huh? Now, the third test, pass the second test, you have to go on the second floor where Big Jim's mama lives. Now, Big Jim's mama, 85 years old, ain't never had an orgasm. You have to have sex with her
Oh my goodness.
and make her, have an orgasm. Now, if you pass the 3 tests, all the money in the jar can be yours. But I'm going to warn you once, no one has ever managed to win that bet. Now, at this point, Boudreaux gives up. Ain't worth it. He orders him some whiskeys. After a few drinks, Boudreaux, now completely drunk, damn it, I'm going to take that bet. And he puts a $100 bill in that jar. Now, staggering, Boudreaux walks over to Big Jim, kicks him square in the balls. Then he swings around and punches him in the mouth, knocking him out cold. Test 1 done. Then Boudreaux remembers that second test. He gets out the bar and he faces Big Jim's dog. Now, at first, all we hear is the dog starting to growl. Then after a few minutes, starting to howl. Then silence. A few seconds later, Boudreaux returns into the bar and he asks the bartender, all right, now where's that old lady I got to pull the tooth out of? All right, folks. Might take you a few minutes to get that one. But that's it for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Hey, thank you, everybody, for coming.